15 years old, first year of high school, my best friend, Frankie Burns. Yeah, I used to go to his house. His father was a jeweler, but he did the glass blowing on the side. I used to stand behind this guy for hours and watch him, and he was amazing. Here I was a little kid, 15 years old, and this guy was like a master making things, heating glass and shaping it. And I was like, wow, that's like so cool. I used to go downstairs to the basement and watch him. And then when he would go to work, I would sneak down there and try to mimic what I saw him doing. But I always would pick up hot glass and burn my fingers. He'd see me with a million Band-Aids on my fingers, and he would say, "You were down in my shop again, screwing around, worrying." I said, "No, Uncle Jimmy." I used to call him Uncle Jimmy. "No, I wasn't down there. No, I wasn't down there." So one day I must have left something on the table. He's got this thing right in the middle of the table. And he says, "Anybody want to tell me about this thing I found on my table?" He said, "You there? He said, "This your work?" And I said, "No, I wouldn't go down there." He said, "Well, that's too bad, because it's actually pretty good." So he said, "Well, you know what? I can teach you the right way so you don't burn my house down." Well, I still love making floating opal jewelry, and it's still done the same way that I was taught 45 years ago. Nothing has changed. My vision was not as good as it was when I was younger, when it really got bad. I had to use magnifiers and look at everything right here. I was getting a lot of return work. In the back of my mind, know that eventually there was going to come a time where I wasn't going to be able to do this anymore because of the lack of sight.
I'm Poonam Mishra. I'm one of the chief residents at Montefiore. Wetlab's been part of the program for many years. At least since I've been here, though, I've seen an enormous change in the wet lab. Although we learn suturing and we learn those kind of skills in medical school, that's really more on a macro level, but the microscope teaching is something that really needs to be hands-on. The lab gives us a chance to practice them in a safe space with tools that are identical to what we're going to be using in the operating room, and that's something really special. It's really hard to kind of describe how small the instruments are, the tools are that we're using, and the fact that we get hands-on exposure to them early on is a huge benefit to us. I remember meeting Mr. Clark because he was really personable. He also told me a lot about himself right away. He did mention the glass blowing. He said that it's something he's really struggling to do now as well as he could before. And he was concerned because that was his livelihood and also just seemed to be something he was very excited about.
I think that your recovery has a lot to do with how they make you feel. Because if you're still afraid, you might not recover as fast or as good as if you're not afraid. Dr. Mesra, she would make you feel really comfortable.
They come in like post-op day 1 or post-op week 1, and you can just see in their face, are they really happy? Can you see that their life has changed? I'm really thankful that we got to use the space to try out our skills. I think we walked in a lot more prepared, and I think as the space gets even bigger and better, the residents are going to be that much more adept.
Getting the surgery, that was a life changer for me, and being able to see clearly. Not only things are sharper, it changes the way you see colors. Like, colors are really vivid now. They're beautiful. I really want to thank Dr. Mesra and the staff at Montefiore Hospital. Got to take your hat off to them. They did a great job with me, and I'm thankful.